Hello, good morning. Welcome to EPL Weekly's Game Week preview. I'm Joe. Alongside me this morning, Roz, and hope just having a sip of coffee out of his big Sports Direct mug. There, the Mike Ashley fan among us. Yeah, I've got Roz with me, and we might be joined by Mus at some point, but he's having some issues at the moment. How you doing, Roz?
Yeah, not too bad. The show tends to go on for quite a while, so I usually sort of stack up the coffees. And I noticed this one. It's obviously famous, the huge Sports Direct mug. And I thought, Steve Bruce and the boys could do it a bit of general support. And I'm sure every Newcastle fan in the country watching is.
So yeah, what better way to support them than paying Mike Ashley for a mug?
It's not mine, to be fair.
Cool. Okay, should we have a quick look at the fixtures then? So the fixtures this week got a 4-4-2 formation over the Easter weekend. 4 games today, 4 tomorrow, 2 on the Monday. Let's go through these fixtures then. Chelsea West Brom at 12:30 today on BT Sport. Leeds Sheffield United at 3 o'clock on Prime. Then Leicester Man City at 5:30 on Sky, and Arsenal Liverpool at 8 o'clock on Sky. 2 massive games there. Sunday midday, Southampton Burnley on Sky. Newcastle Spurs at 2:05 on Sky, and then Villa Fulham at 4:30 on Sky. And then between Villa Fulham and the next game, you can catch us doing EPL Weekly, reviewing all of these games that's happened so far. And then it's Man United at 7:30 hosting Brighton on BT Sport. Monday evening football is brought to you by Sky Sports. Everton Palace is at 6 o'clock, and Wolves West Ham is at 8:15. Any standout fixtures there for you, Roz?
You've got the double fixture at the end of today with Liverpool Arsenal, which is historically a really good game, actually. The 4-4 with Andreas Schaven comes to mind. There was that one. What was the one where there were like 2 penalties, both in like stoppage time? There's like one in the 94th and one in the.
Oh, it ended up being like 100. It ended up going to like 110 minutes or something crazy that. Yeah. That was at the Emirates, that one. I remember that. Yeah, crazy one.
And there was another one on top of that where it was like first game of the season and Joe Cole scored when he just signed from Chelsea, and it's 4-3 or something like that. Yeah. But yeah, always a good game, this one. And then, of course, you've got the Mickey Thomas scenes from 89, which you as a Gunners fan will be thinking sweetly of. But so I really look forward to that game. And then before that, Leicester Man City. It's a really interesting one. I think City have kind of wrapped up the title chase. Leicester definitely still could drop out of those top 4 places.
Yeah, interesting one. Leicester, interesting one. Neither of us, when we made our top 4 predictions a month or 2 back, neither of us predicted Leicester would finish in the top 4, where they're doing all right so far.
Yeah, but Brendan Rodgers is a bottle job, isn't he? Did it last year, did it with the title at Liverpool. He lost it to.
But he's a fantastic man, fantastic person, fantastic human being. Right, okay. We're going to preview each of these games now, and then we're going to predict the outcomes of those games, which so far Roz is smashing me on the predictions this season. Subscribe to the channel to make sure you never miss a live stream again, and make sure you allow notifications so you know every time we go live like this. If you're watching and you've got any suggestions, just comment in the live chat to get involved, and make sure you tell us what you want to hear about on the pod. You can tweet us at EPLW pod. Okay, let's start off by looking at the predictions we made on the last show all the way back 2 weeks ago. It's exciting that the Premier League is back. I'm excited.
I have to say, I don't like this sort of long period away from it when you're playing Albania and San Marino. It's always nice watching England, but when they're pointless games like that, where basically any scoreline is going to be a disappointment. If you don't beat San Marino in double figures, it's like, we could have played better.
Yeah.
Why stack them up? It's just a waste of time, really. But Prem.
Yeah.
Quality football. Both being on a level playing field.
The Premier League is back. Okay, I think maybe we're just a bit spoilt by the Premier League, aren't we? And when it comes to international football, not so lucky. So there were only 3 games in our predictor game last week. Mus took my place when he joined us on the show. And your predictions went like this. Brighton, Newcastle. You said 2-1 Dunk. And Mus said 2-0 Trossard. It was 3-0 and Trossard scored, didn't he? So
But Dunk got a clean sheet.
no, you're not having that. It's,
Yeah, you do. Goalkeepers defence should get clean sheets.
no. If Trossard scored, that trumps that, surely.
No, but it doesn't trump it. They both get points.
Outrageous.
That's 2 each.
Only because I can't be
No, 'cause I
bothered
would've
to
picked
argue it.
defender if I
But,
didn't think,
like,
right, we're gonna clean
If
sheet.
you right, so the idea is it's your man of the match. Dunk was not man of the match in that prediction.
It's someone's feature, is what you always say.
Oh,
You're changing the goalpost, mate.
You are just desperate for the win, aren't you? Look, you're thrashing me already. Like it's. Stop it! Stop triggering me this early in the show. Right, okay. 2 points for you, 2 points for Mus. Then, okay. West Ham 3, Arsenal 3. You said 1-1 Antonio. Mus said 1-1 Lingard. You both got 2 points. Shut up.
No.
Villa Spurs. Spurs won 2-0. You said 3-1 Bale. Mus said 2-1 Kane. Mus got 2 points. You got 1. So overall, Mus got 6 points for me. And you got 5 points, which means even though you fought hard for that Lewis Dunk point, you lost your prediction game last week, mate. Sorry. The streak has come to an end.
To finally, beat the winning streak by having someone else take your place. It's like you've drafted in the under-23s for an FA Cup game and they've stopped the rot.
No, it's I was literally being polite. He was on the show. I was like,
yeah, no, that's fine. But in terms of losing record, you wouldn't sort of if it's just a totally different team. Same with a winning record. I've just had the first defeat in weeks, and I was playing against a different side. Actually, it's more like I was playing the under-23s all the weeks previously, and then last time you decided to draft in the first team with Mus. He clearly knows what he's talking about.
Oh, brilliant. Okay, right. Let's get on to this week's fixtures, shall we? Sorry, I just haven't got the energy this morning to argue with you. Mus, where are you? Come and join us. Help me, save me. Okay, let's get on to these games then this week. So today, 12:30, we have got Chelsea, West Brom at Stamford Bridge. Chelsea are 4th, West Brom 19th. N'Golo Kante is Chelsea's only absentee, having returned early from international duty because of a muscle injury. Thiago Silva, Tammy Abraham, Jorginho and Hudson-Odoi all fit again, while head coach Tommy Tuchel has confirmed Timo Werner will start this one. Good old Tommy Tuchel, eh? West Brom loanee Conor Gallagher is ineligible to face his parent club. You're right there, mate. Hal Robson-Kanu will be in the squad despite being sent home from Wales duty for a breach of coronavirus protocols. Naughty Hal. Roz, talk us through this one.
I tried to work out whether Tommy Tuchel sounds like a character from Beano or whether he sounds like a sort of 1930s London mafia sort of mob boss.
Let's meet in the middle and call it
Tommy Tuchel. Dad fat Tommy Tuchel. like that.
Let's meet in the middle and call it something from Football Factory. That's somewhere between the Beano and Gangsters, isn't it?
Yeah. Tommy Hatchet.
Yeah.
From Green
Watch
Street.
out for Tommy Tuchel.
The most scary West Ham firm fan of all time being what's even his name? Elijah Wood.
Yeah.
I'm forever blowing bubbles. Big bubbles in Mordor.
What?
He has a West Ham tattoo. Did you know that? Fucking Elijah Wood.
Yeah.
Lord of the Rings was in that film and then decided, yeah, West Ham are a great football club for all that, hooliganism and stuff.
Yeah.
I'm going to get a West Ham tattoo, yeah.
Yeah, if anything sells West Ham, it's Green Street, the film, isn't it? And do you remember the guy's Cockney accent? What was his?
Oh yeah.
Terrible.
Like, you mean Boston and the Red Sox? More like Israel and Palestine, Mary Poppins.
Yeah, he's very much channeling the Dick Van Dyke Cockney accent. Anyway, Tommy Tuchel takes the Chelsea boys. Well, they're at home. I was going to say takes them to West Bromwich, but they're at home. They're at Stamford Bridge, hosting West Brom. Surely this one's a rout, isn't it? This is a Tommy Tuchel trio of.
It's domination from the Mannschaft. Well, the Mannschaft in West London, but it will be a 3-0. I mean, Sam Allardyce really hasn't done it, has he? He sort of,
No.
I think he said early doors it was the first worst squad, or at least many pundits were saying it, the worst squad that he'd ever walked into, therefore the hardest job.
Bit of a
Some might say they've got better.
bit of a confidence killer, that, isn't it? Imagine hearing your manager saying that
Oh, 100%.
when he goes into a job.
Particularly as his speciality is taking over teams that have been abysmal.
Mm.
Like literally, sort of the whole fireman's out. He's used to walking into sort of terrible sides. I get that, you know, they've kind of shored it up at the back, but you know, I guess it's kind of what we're seeing at Arsenal, with kind of being shored up at the back and then maybe losing a bit creatively going forward. We've seen with Fulham, they stuck by a manager, kept playing their kind of football, just signed better players kind of thing, with Anderson and the likes of players like that. West Brom just have no goal threat. You know, they brought in a Diagna from Galatasaray, and he's looked busy, but not really getting much service. I think actually, even though the results might differ, in terms of actually just attacking teams and your chances of staying up, I reckon Sam has made them worse.
Wow. Big shout. Well, I mean, you think on the face of it, Chelsea have got a lot more international players than West Brom, and the game week back after international breaks is always a bit interesting. There's always a couple of funny results in there. Now, I'm not saying that my prediction is going to be that West Brom will win, but Big Sam has had a long time with the majority of his squad, and if he's making a play for survival, wouldn't this be the ideal way to kick that off?
I mean, owed to be a Chelsea fan. You know, they've got all these internationals. Many of them are German. Remind me what Germany's result was midweek. How did Havertz and Werner and the likes get on? Rudiger.
They lost 2-1, didn't they, to North Macedonia?
Oh, that's right. Love football. No, I mean, yeah, there's something in that. And actually, I'm sure we're going to get on to Newcastle later, but to see that Steve Bruce gave his boys extra days off.
Did he? No, I didn't see that.
6 out of the 9 days off. They've only trained for 3 days.
Wow.
In this break.
I mean, I'm coming into, when you said, did you see, I'm coming into this podcast quite green. I haven't done a lot of research. I had a busy couple of days, all right? So just go easy on me, Roz. Go easy on me, will you?
Fine.
Okay.
Okay, well, you didn't see, but Steve Bruce gave his...
Well, don't assume that I did. Stop assuming whether I saw it or not.
Said you're green. I don't know if you're green, if you're fucking Green Street, Jesus. Getting confused. But
bees and honey. Give me the bees and honey, mate. Yeah. Okay. So, what's your prediction then? And who is your man of the match? Okay, man of the match.
3-0 Chelsea. And a player that I think will feature.
No, man of the match. I'm going to be strict. We need to do man of the match. This point is only available if your man is man of the match.
Says who?
Says me.
Why says you? You're in the game. You can't decide the rules.
Well, I'm keeping all. I'm writing everything down. I'm keeping track of it all. Do you want to keep? Do you want to write it all down and keep track of it?
Oh, I can't be asked.
Well, there you go. Exactly. So, my game, I make the rules, playground style. All right.
Main man of the match, Mason Matt.
Main man of the match, Mason Man. Well, that's an interesting one because...
Who was brilliant midweek, I thought.
Yeah, well, he...
actually, talking of the internationals, for both Ben Chilwell and Mason Mount made very good claims for being part of that 23-man squad. Even though the competition wasn't brilliant, I thought Chilwell was great against Poland. Bit better competition there. Mason Mount was good. Pretty much every touch he took, I thought. Really
he was insanely good, and he played quite a lot, didn't he? So my man of the match will be someone else. But I'm gonna say 2-0 Chelsea because they're not quite free scoring yet, are they? Let's be honest.
Yeah, was it the same guy who said that Arsenal never got thrashed and it was always close and you were always in the game, and then you conceded 3 goals in 32 minutes to West Ham.
Yeah, But we brought it back and drew 3-3, so pipe down. So I'm going to say 2-0 Chelsea. And because Werner has been told that he's starting, he's guaranteed starter. You know, he sat on the bench for a while in the international break. I'm going to go Werner for my man of the match.
Fair play.
Fair play indeed.
He
Okay.
missed an absolute shocker midweek against North Macedonia.
Are you assuming that I saw it? Because I didn't.
No, I'm not. I'm letting you know. This is information.
Cool.
You know, I would have scored it, Joe. It was.
It can't have been that bad, surely.
It was. No, it's one of those where football fans over the country go, "My gran could score that. She's 6 foot under." Or whatever. They go, I could have scored that. I could have definitely scored that. So, you know.
Couldn't hit a barn door with a banjo, as the saying goes. Okay.
Couldn't finish dinner, mate.
Sorry?
Couldn't finish his dinner.
Couldn't finish his dinner. That's one of my favourites, that is. Okay, next up, Leeds Sheffield, a bit of a Yorkshire match, this one. At Elland Road, 3 o'clock today. You can catch this one on Amazon Prime. Leeds are 11th in the table on 39 points. Sheffield United, rock bottom, 14 points. Liam Cooper's available after missing 2 matches before the international break. Rodrigo and Pablo Hernandez have recovered from muscle strains, but Matthias Klich could miss out after a recent positive COVID test. John Egan, is it Egan or Egan? I do this every week.
Egan, I think.
John Egan might be fit for Sheffield United following a 6-week absence with a dislocated toe. Ouch. And Dame Edna Stevens has overcome the unspecified injury that caused him to return early from international duty. This one is surely a thrashing for Leeds, isn't it, Ross?
No. If you looked at the finish list when it came out at the beginning of the season, you've gone Sheffield United, almost got into Europe last season. Leeds United, small club, small mentality, tiny little club somewhere in Yorkshire. No one even cares about it. You know, who would be fighting in the relegation scrap?
You're outrageous, by the way.
Huh?
You're outrageous. Any Leeds fans watching, they are the views of Roz. They're not the views of EPLW. Okay.
Whatever, they get told, they get pandered to constantly in the press by, they're a huge club. I think they can cope.
The sleeping giants.
The only person in the country willing to call them out for being a corrupt, disgusting, small, ego-inflated football club.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fine. You know, the glory years where they used to bribe referees and kick the other team off the pitch. As Brian Clough, famously said, when he came into Leeds United, he said, you can take all those medals you've won and you can put them all straight in the bin because you've won none of them fairly.
There you go.
And, I don't know what I'm talking about, but I think Brian Clough does. So,
Brian
Clough, so
Clough.
nice to have them back where they belong.
Brian Clough, is that the name of your cloth that you use to wash the dishes? Or
yeah. It has a picture of him in a Leeds kit and sort of shouting at Billy Bremner.
Billy Bremner and Brian Clough, eh? What a pair. So what's your prediction for this one, Roz?
11-0 Sheffield United.
just literally giving up. No, I have to take your first answer. No, I told you this before, Roz. We have to take your first answer. And you said 11-0 Sheffield United. Who's your man of the match going to be?
Oh, they're probably going to score quite a few goals in this one then, aren't they? So I better go for a striker. Let's go for David
McGoldrick. Okay. I think it's very nice of you to take one for the team there. Give me a chance in the predictions game.
Well, you haven't got Mus to kind of fight your corner this week. So
wow, deep.
You need some advantage, don't
you? Leeds, Sheffield United. Okay, I'm going to go 3-0 Leeds.
But it's a derby, Joe. Don't you say for a big game and a big derby? I know it's not sort of Palace Brighton levels, but it's a big derby. So 1-0, right?
Roz, I know it's not Palace Brighton levels. Come on, nothing comes near that rivalry. How dare you? The M23 derby, aka El Trafico. No way. Like that. Nothing comes.
What Spanish football on nowadays? Like, what channel is it on? Because I really want to watch the next El Clasico. Real Madrid, this side from Madrid, and Barcelona, this side in Catalonia. I said, don't tell me about El Clasico, mate. Don't care when it's on. Don't care what channel is it on. It's all about when the next Brighton Palace M23 derby.
The Seagulls and the Eagles.
The season's over, mate. The season's over because they've already played each other twice. There's nothing left to play for. Screw the title race, screw the relegation. None of it matters as much as next season they're both going to be in the same division. In fact, the most important thing this season is that Brighton stay up. So we are still blessed with this derby, which is
Yeah.
bigger in English football than Leeds United.
Cool. Yeah. So my prediction then is 3-0 to Leeds and Bamford to be man of the match. The Pat Bamford show. He's had a nice rest, hasn't he? I bet he was probably. I bet.
He's spent it crying into his pillow watching Ollie Watkins. I go, I could have finished that. And I've got a silver spoon in my mouth.
Oh wow! Steady on. Right. Okay. Let's go then to our next game, which is possibly the tie of the game week. Leicester Man City. Leicester Man City. Stop talking about Leeds, man. You've poisoned my mind with Leeds chat. Okay, Leicester Man City at 5:30 today at the King Power Stadium. And we were saying about Bamford sitting at home crying into his pillow watching Watkins. Well, what about James Maddison for Leicester? He's recovered from his hip problem, while Ricardo Pereira is also fit after overcoming a hamstring strain. However, Harvey Barnes and Cengiz Under remain sidelined. Man City boss Pep Guardiola has reported no injury concerns, but will continue to assess those players coming back from international duty. City are expected to recall goalkeeper Ederson, who was rested in the FA Cup win against Everton 2 weeks ago. Right then, Leicester Man City. Where do we start? Kelechi Iheanacho, player of the month for the Premier League. 5 goals in 3 games over the last month. And also we need to talk about Aguero. So, where should we start?
Let's start with Iheanacho. Why not? He's in great goal scoring form. I think fantasy football fans all over the country will be suddenly realising how cheap he is and how many goals he scored. But then the more sensible ones, such as myself, would see that he's actually got 2 very tricky fixtures, and I think isn't playing in the next one or something like that. It's so sensible guys like me, we're waiting, just seeing if he does it against Man City. And
you have shattered my dreams. Well, I was thinking he's up against his former club. He's got a point to prove. This fixture, the reverse fixture earlier in the season, Leicester won 5-2. There's a lot going in favour of Leicester going into this game. But as you said, they're bottle jobs.
And I'm mad City haven't won the title yet, but they, basically have. You'd say Leicester definitely have more to play for. By the way, Iheanacho always produced for City. I thought.
Yeah, he was good.
When you've got, and this can kind of link us to Aguero, but Aguero always needs that player when he does get injured, and it's that kind of shoulda, woulda, coulda. Could he have beaten Alan Shearer's record if his injury record?
Yeah.
He gets injured twice a season and has done for about 7 years or something. But he always needs that understudy that, it's City. I mean, they're producing a lot of side chances for you, but they need that Gabriel Jesus. And before Jesus, it was Kelechi Iheanacho.
Mm-hmm.
I thought Iheanacho did better to finish those chances than Jesus. I don't know the statistics, but he always seemed to score for City when he played.
Yeah, he was good. I think he wanted more opportunities though, didn't he? And shame for him. He's finally proven himself, and he's got a run of games under his belt with Vardy. First injured, and then Vardy was just a bit shit when he came back from injury. Maybe brought back too soon. But talking Aguero, highest scoring non-English player in Premier League history. So,
wow.
The Willy won't he around the Shearer situation. I mean, he's 73 goals behind Shearer at the moment. He scored 79 goals behind Alan Shearer. He scored 181. Shearer scored 260, obviously. So I don't think he was ever going to get it, was he?
I'm sure he'll be happy with his career, but you'd have to say if he had not had been injured twice a year.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Then he probably would have. I mean, he's spent most of this season out, and in this current City side, if he was playing, then he was, getting an extra 20 here and there. But I mean, yeah, terrific player. I doubt he'll go to another Premier League side, to be honest. So I'm just looking up the statistics for Iheanacho and Jesus.
Fair enough. Well, it's interesting you say that you don't think he'll go to another Premier League side, because they seem to be the most sort of linked clubs at the moment in the gossip columns. Like, apparently Aguero is determined to stay in the Premier League, but he always goes home at every opportunity, doesn't he? He always goes back to Argentina to see his family and stuff. So maybe he wants to go and do that. Tough one.
Boy.
No, I think he was River Plate, wasn't he? I'm not
River
sure.
Plate, okay. Yeah.
We can have a look. You tell me
I
about
think he was at Atletico Madrid quite young, as you can remember.
Maradona's son-in-law.
Yeah, brilliant player. What was that, sorry?
He's Maradona's son-in-law as well, isn't he?
Yes, and then there's another one, isn't there? There's someone else is the godfather. Who is it? Marlon Brando. That's it. No, isn't his kid? His granddad's Maradona. His dad's Aguero. Oh yeah, his godfather's Messi.
Yeah.
So Aguero's son. If he's not a footballer and his godfather's Messi and his granddad's Maradona and his dad's Kun Aguero, pressure's on.
Yeah. So go on then. Tell us who's been the better backup for Aguero over the years. Is it?
It's actually Jesus. I mean, I'm only looking at league, so sort of just Premier League. Yeah, it's a Premier League show.
Exactly,
actually,
as I often tell you.
I'm guessing that Iheanacho was better in the cups, but 87 with 15 goals, 87 appearances, 15. And then Jesus has actually got a pretty decent, what's that, 123 appearances, 48 goals. So that's more than 1 in 3, which is
decent. I mean, that is
pretty decent, isn't it?
Pretty good for a backup. And, you know, Guardiola, funnily enough, saying in a press conference that they can't afford to replace Aguero.
Oh, yeah, they always say that, don't they? But Pep's done this before at City, and he sort of tried to get sympathy from their financial situation with the press.
Unbelievable.
And also that brings up how much Liverpool have spent and how much Man United spent, and trying to, yeah, you've all spent too much. Yeah, you're all like, trying to, you're all ruining football equally, okay? So
you're all monsters.
No, I don't. Yeah, anything Pep in the press is always pinch of salt, isn't it? And actually, yeah, I can see them going for someone like Haaland. I know they're saying, we can't afford to.
Yeah. I mean, is this the time to have this conversation? Maybe it is. Yeah, right. We were talking the other day, weren't we, during our sort of holiday from YouTube and stuff. We were talking about the potential transfer merry-go-round of the summer. And
I think this would need like a game show little graphic where it's like, it's the striker merry-go-round.
Yeah, it's like you've got all the clubs up the top, and then you've got all the strikers at the bottom, and you have to like link where they're going to go.
But we're not high budget enough because we need more Patreons.
Yes, support us on patreon.com/Joe Carter EPLW. Thank you very much, Roz, for the plug. And also, if you're watching, get in the chat. Tell us what you think. Who's going to go where? So you reckon Haaland goes to City?
I reckon Haaland could go to City. Yeah, so what I was saying the other day.
So hang on a minute. Can I just say Haaland goes to City? I like this from an Arsenal perspective. Haaland goes to City, and you were saying potentially about Aubameyang maybe going back to Dortmund because of his form being rubbish.
Firstly, I found out the other day that it's Haaland, not Haaland. But everyone here says Haaland. So I don't want to be that pretentious guy that goes, I think you'll find the Norwegian pronunciation is Haaland.
You don't want to be that guy, or you do?
No, I'm just going to call him Haaland because everyone else does.
Yeah, fair enough. I am that guy, often that guy. So thanks for the dig at me there.
Yeah, nice.
I appreciate that.
But yeah, you're going to have to say Haaland now.
Yeah, and I'm going to have to call you, what's the correct pronunciation of Roz?
There's a silent Z at the start. Was silent. So yeah, you never really Z-R-O-Z.
Roz.
No, silent, mate. Silent. Don't. It's all about anticipation. It's more of a facial expression before you say it.
Go on then. Try it. So show me again.
Was.
That is amazing. I can't wait to see you. Like, I'm imagining you on some sort of graphic for like BT Sport or Sky, just coming up to the camera and going, "Was."
Yeah. Or like receiving an award for just services to the community and making people realise that the media is lying to them about Leeds United. It'll be services to the community, taking down the monster that is Leeds United, and they will present me with this prestigious award, and then they'll go, and the winner is Roz. No, guys, sorry, it's actually pronounced Roz. I want to be that guy.
I love it. Wow, we've talked about your name. We've massaged your ego for a long time now. So Tell us your transfer merry-go-round then. Who goes where? Just
Right,
tell me.
so you
Lay it
got a
out.
few. I actually think to start with two that won't move, but are in the conversation. I think Mbappe will stay at PSG, and I think that Messi will stay at Barcelona because Messi always stays at Barcelona. But the ones in the equation, you've got Kun Aguero, you've got Erling Haaland, who is just ridiculous, isn't he?
He is a beast. He's unbelievable. You know he's he's a biohacker. Like he's into, so it's this craze called biohacking, right? Look it up. It is insane.
Illegal.
And well, borderline. It's like
You're exposing it.
Yeah. Right here on EPLW Gameweek preview with all of our 2 viewers. It's a massive expose. The Erling Haaland expose. Some great
like
undercover journalism.
It's like sort of Julian Assange figure, like just sitting in his room, just like taking down like organisation.
No, it's biohacking, Roz. It's hacking your body, right? So that's the idea. So biohacking in its
even at the age of 20, whatever he is, he still looks about 3.
Pretty much, yeah. That's it. Right. Listen, right. I'm going to give you a little definition of biohacking, okay? Biohacking can be described as citizen or do-it-yourself biology. For many biohackers, this consists of making small incremental diet or lifestyle changes to make small improvements in your health and well-being. Biohacks promise anything from quick weight loss to enhanced brain function. I mean, he's definitely got something going on in his brain function, but the best biohacking results come from being well-informed and cautious about what works for your body. That's advice now. That's not definition anymore. So it's basically, it can range from that. I heard about this guy who did biohacking, right? He put like a compass, like a gyroscope in his chest. He like
Tony Stark.
He like literally had an operation to just stick it in there like a thing. So now he always, and it vibrates when he's facing north. So he knows when he's facing north. It's true, real story.
But real story. In his day-to-day job, because that would get annoying if you didn't know.
Well, no, I read
I
read this article about it, and apparently he was like, well, birds know north. Birds know north. Why shouldn't I know north?
What a prick.
Yeah. Yeah, I know, right? Anyway.
Sorry.
Anyway, Erling Haaland.
Also, I like do-it-yourself biology, which is what everyone has been doing in COVID times, right? You've got all these people. I don't trust the scientists. Don't trust the science. Do it own biology. Tell me more about your degree. But the question, right, was where do I see Haaland going, or what is the merry-go-round? And he seems like a Man United player. He really feels like a Man United player just because of his ego, his star quality. It's pretty much what they need. I know they've sort of got Cavani, but he's about 47 or something, isn't he? So, and also the Norwegian connection with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer managing him at Mulder, and also a very close relationship with ex-captain Roy Keane after Roy Keane allegedly retired his father. Although that is mainly bullshit, because he actually retired on the other leg, not the one that famous tackle was from. However, yeah, his dad played for City, so I'd love to see him go to Manchester. I'd probably prefer to him go to Man United just to kind of balance the scales a bit.
Man United are in that kind of situation at the moment where they're missing their dominant number 9 that they're sort of known for down the years. Interesting one. Do you know who Haaland's agent is?
Yes, Mino Raiola.
Make it Rainola.
There we go. He is the biggest twat in football. Do you remember a simpler time when being a football agent wasn't a thing? Yeah, and not only wasn't it a thing, but they weren't some of the most powerful and rich people in the game from a made-up job, a job that doesn't need to be a thing. Like, my favourite football is the one where it's just like their dad being their agent. And they might be looking out for like what's financially best and everything, but they're not wankers like Raiola.
I'll tell you something interesting about Raiola, which tells you something about his character and personality as well. I don't know if you know that he bought Al Capone's £7 million Miami villa. that's where...
Nice.
So he sees himself as some sort of gangster character. Yeah.
Cool.
So Raiola lives in Al Capone's house.
Was I saying this on the show, or was I just saying this to you on another Zoom call or something. But football's got worse, I feel. Not just because everyone says, "Oh, it's got worse since the agents and stuff." I think there are more transfer flops than there ever used to be. If you go back to like 2006, 2003, you'd get big money players. But if you look at the most expensive players in the world, the ones that were actually flops, I don't know, Varane to Man United comes to mind, but Varane was still a very, very good player. There are very few in that kind of top list. Your Buffons, your later on your Ronaldo, Kaká, maybe another one, but he had injury troubles. But since agents have come in, you're getting so many average players, Pepe, go to sort of big clubs for ridiculous fees, like 72 million to Arsenal. Sorry, just to use Pepe as an example. But you've got so many players that flop ridiculously because their agents talk up the fee and big them up. And their agents don't know anything about football. They're literally just good in that negotiations meeting and going, no, well, a guy of the caliber of Pepe here, who scored 8 penalties this season. So, yeah, that's what we're talking about, yeah. Yeah, he's 72 million. But we'll take it in installments.
Yeah.
So they're going for mad, but I don't remember there being that many transfer flops. Is that just me? I'm sure, like, the quality of footballers at big teams.
I think it's...
more teams have players that are just shite and not worth their actual price tag at all.
Yeah, I mean, a team that you could say, just to sort of bring us around to topic, a team that you could say doesn't have many flops in is Leicester's team, and they tend to not spend massively, but they sell quite big, don't they? So,
brilliant.
Leicester, fantastic human beings, lovely people. Leicester could become the first team to score 6 goals against the Pep Guardiola side over a league season ever, if they score later. So, give me a prediction and give me your man of the match.
I think Mbappe and Messi will stay at that.
Yeah, we've lost that. We'll have to do a special or something. We've spent about half an hour on this match and we haven't talked about it. So
I think Leicester could score. Like I said, I think that they've got less to play for. City, Leicester, or less to play for. Let's go. I think City will win it though. Let's go 2-1 City with the good old Pep merry-go-round. Let's go for Kevin De Bruyne.
Yeah, KDB. I mean, I've also gone 2-1, but yeah, I'm not sure on the Pep merry-go-round side of things. I'm going to go Mahrez because he seems to feature quite a lot, and he's against the former team, and I just feel like Pep likes that kind of thing.
I think Belgium had a week off when they playing like Moldova or someone. So.
Okay, let's move on to from one. Yeah,
just
Belgium's team that they put out against who was it that they beat? Like
when they won like 8-0 or something, weren't it?
Benteke scored twice. Like
Benteke, Batshuayi, I think played.
Yeah.
Trossard from Brighton.
Trossard scored as well. Yeah, ridiculous.
Like, oh, you're actually quite a good side, aren't you? Like,
yeah.
I know you're only playing whoever you're playing, but
okay. We're getting on. We're going to move on to the next game.
2-1.
Cool. You're going De Bruyne 2-1. I'm going for Mahrez 2-1. Okay, next game then. This is right. We've been doing this for 40 minutes and we're on to the 4th game. We need to speed up a bit, I think. Apologies if you're watching, but well, actually, no, not apologies. You're probably enjoying it because you're watching.
Oh, yeah, if we keep going, that's what a 200-minute, no, 2-hour show. Just under.
Yeah, frankly, I can't do it. I've got a football game that kicks off at midday. I've got to go and do that. So we are bound slightly by the clock. Anyway, Arsenal Liverpool tonight at 8 o'clock.
Bamyang just rocking up late to the meeting. Sorry, what?
Thanks for that, mate. Yep, very helpful. Okay, Arsenal Liverpool at 8 o'clock tonight. Arsenal will assess Bukayo Saka and Croydon De Bruyne, who are nursing respective hamstring and hip injuries. Willian is available after overcoming a calf problem. Hopefully your baby cow is better now, Willian. But Granit Xhaka is doubtful through illness, and what a shame. And David Luiz is sidelined by a knee problem. That's quite a nice bunch of injuries, those ones. Liverpool forward Roberto Firmino has recovered from the knee issue, which ruled him out of the past 3 games, and Jordan Henderson is still injured, as are long-term absentees, all of Liverpool centre-backs. Okay, what do you reckon then, Roz?
It's getting a bit of an international break theme video. It's becoming one of those. But did you see how many assists Kieran Tierney got midweek for Scotland?
Did he become the first player in an international game to get 3 assists or something like that? It was some crazy record.
Scotland, yeah. But I mean, like, did you see where he was starting? I've seen Scotland. Steve Clarke's genius. What he's doing. He was an overlapping centre half.
Oh,
so obviously you've got possibly the best left back in the world, being a Scotsman in Andy Robertson, and that means that Tierney can't actually play in his natural position. Still got 3 assists.
Yeah.
Running up into that kind of left flank position. Had a really good game.
I mean,
against the Faroe Islands, not Liverpool.
But, yeah.
You know.
Well, these two going head to head tonight, aren't they? Robertson and Tierney. And it's kind of tragic for Scotland, but also amazing that they pretty much. I mean, if Robbo's the best left back in the world, and it's hard to argue, then Kieran Tierney is quite close, isn't he? You know, in terms of.
I love him as a player.
He's brilliant.
He'd probably have to win trophies that aren't Scotland to have that conversation. Like you could never say it about Andy Robertson until he won. Until he was in 2 Champions League finals in consecutive years, and until he's won the Premier League, finished second with 99 points or whatever it was. But yeah, and you know, Celtic titles. Well done, you turned up for work. But but no, I really rate him as a player, and even more than that, if we're going on this striker merry-go-round, I reckon Aubameyang could go back to Dortmund, as you were saying, and then Arsenal needs a new captain, and I don't think they have to look much further than my fellow Scotsman. Can you not tell from my accent?
Yeah. Okay. Well, going into this game, Arsenal, the home team, sit 9th in the league. Liverpool 7th, and only 4 points between them. Hard to believe. Like, you know.
It must be like the fewest points total, the lowest points total for these two teams. But I know they played together. They played each other on the first day, so they only had 0 points a few years ago. But at this stage of the season, like, both having not brilliant seasons.
Yeah. So I mean, how do you see this one going? I mean, Liverpool's sort of issue seem to be with Anfield, so they're away here. Arsenal they've shown some strength, some resilience, which has been missing in recent years. Over the last few games, they've won 2, drawn 2 in the last 4. You know, Liverpool's indifferent, win loss. Like, so what do you reckon?
I've no idea. I probably should have checked it out if Brazil were playing. Obviously, a big long flight there if they were, but whether Gabriel and David Luiz would have been playing, whether they've got a week off. I'd imagine after conceding 3 goals in 32 minutes against West Ham, that Arteta, he wouldn't like that. He liked the reputation that he gave him before about always keeping games tight. Also, with the added thing that they're playing Liverpool and it's not at Anfield, so it will be a difficult game. But I think that will make Arsenal kind of shore up, wise up. So I hope it's kind of gotten over the fact that the team plays better without Aubameyang now. Hopefully Lacazette starts. If I was an Arsenal fan, that's what I would want to see. Ødegaard finally sort of starting to really produce some very good performances.
Ødegaard he was voted Arsenal's Player of the Month by Arsenal fans this month. Yeah. Understandably, he's providing that dynamic number 10 action that
hopefully you get to sign him. I think that's what the Arsenal fans kind of going, we like you.
Yeah.
Come today, and hopefully you'll get that over the line before fans are allowed back in the stadium, and he realises the Emirates always has no atmosphere. How it is anyway. Mate.
I mean, even after all of this lockdown, can you imagine if the Emirates fills up again and it's silent still? Like,
literally, the guy's like, "Oh, this is actually,
Anyway,
no, it's good. I did go to the Emirates a couple of times, and it was a great book. It's just a really enjoyable read.
Okay, so what's your prediction and who's your man of the match?
I I actually fancy a draw. I'm gonna go for a 1-1, and man of the match. Let's go for Diego Jota, who I think will start, who scored midweek. And then I think he scored 3 goals over the international break or something like that. It's a good goal scoring for him.
Yeah, not bad at all.
And he can kind of lift Liverpool after their slump to 7th.
I mean, this game, we talked about this at the top of the show as well, didn't we? About how this game can often throw up a corker of a result, or at least a very decent game to watch. I'm going to go 3-2 Arsenal. I think there's a lot of goals in it. I think there's some leaky defences out there, and I just think Arsenal will have the edge at the Emirates. And I think Martin Odegaard's going to be my unpick the lock guy, and he's going to, I can see Arsenal having problems with Salah and Mane as we usually do, but also I can see, Liverpool's makeshift back line. I think Odegaard can pick the locks there, so that's what I'm going for.
Gonna buy you a poster, and it's gonna go just next to your very nice black strap there at the back. Be a poster just in that little bit, and it'll be, "It's the hope that kills you."
Is that?
And every time you make any slightly outlandish prediction about Arsenal, it'll just be there.
Yeah.
Constantly. I think we can beat them.
Is that your
3-2?
Is that you speaking from experience as a Millwall fan, Roz, about the hope killing you?
Nah, because I never have any hope, mate.
Wow, that is dark.
But no, it's good because when we win games like yesterday against Rotherham.
Why don't you
Sorry.
Why don't you just change football teams? People do that, don't they?
No. No. I mean, I know like sort of guys like you like to adopt Spanish sides, like a Spanish team.
I don't change football teams though. I have a Spanish team, I have an Italian team, I have a German team.
Fair enough. I don't mind that so much as when people have a London team and they have a championship team, then they have a local team. Like, I also support Dulwich Hamlet, come on, the rabble.
The rabble.
£10 for a ticket for non-league football. I remember, anyway.
We hate to admit. What's the other one? I can't remember.
Come on, you bacon blues. Bless them, Dulwich Hamlet. £10 for a ticket for non-league football.
Yeah, and it's basically in a Sainsbury's car park.
Yeah. That's disgusting.
Okay, back to topic. We have tangented so much. Right, okay.
What was the question? I
haven't asked the question yet. Let me ask it.
Give me a question.
Okay, right. Sunday, tomorrow, midday, Southampton, Burnley at St Mary's Stadium. Southampton 14th on 33 points. Burnley 15th on 33 points. Both have a goal difference of -15. Southampton have scored more, though. So that's why they're ahead. Okay. This game, then. Southampton-Burnley. Southampton are hopeful captain James Wardy-Prowse will overcome a calf issue sustained on international duty with England. Didn't he do well? The Saints are boosted by the news that both Danny Ings, Chicken Wings, and Theo Walcott are back in training and available. Burnley will be without Robbie Brady, who suffered an Achilles injury during Ireland's midweek game against Qatar. Kevin Long and Ashley Barnes remain out, but Charlie Taylor and Jack Cork are both available again. Southampton could do the league double over Burnley for the first time since 1970-1971. So, Southampton have never done the double over Burnley in the Premier League era. That's interesting.
Yeah, that is. I mean, I was also going to... Shay Adams, he was the one that sort of switched Scotland, and he scored midweek as well, and actually doesn't have a fresh injury because of that.
J.
Yeah, actually look at the... Beside this Republic of Ireland team that we used to associate with, Martin O'Neill and Roy Keane's glorious, upset side, brilliant team. The starting 11 they put out against Qatar and couldn't beat Qatar, it was 1-1. Was actually an incredibly good one, full of Premier League talent, full of sort of top championship talent and really good players. So I don't know what's going on there. Salt in the wound to get an injury from that with Robbie Brady, but I can't be bothered talking about this game anymore because who's going to watch this? Is anyone going to watch this? Southampton,
I
Burnley?
mean, we've all got a lie in, haven't
Really?
we, essentially?
Yeah, I'm going to go for a 1-1. Let's go for Chris Wood, and let's leave it at that.
I am going 1-1 myself, but I'm going to go with Ings. So I'll put yours in 1-1. Wood,
Nice.
and I reckon Chicken Wings Danny Ings will get a goal. Okay, right, let's move on to Newcastle Spurs 2:05 at St James's Park. Newcastle could have Alain Saint-Maximin back for the visit of Tottenham, but expect to still be without top goal scorer Callum Wilson. Steve Bruce also confirmed that Isaac Hayden is out for the season with a knee injury sustained against Brighton. Tottenham are boosted by the news that both Son Heung-min and Sergio Reguilon are available for selection. However, they will be without fullbacks Matt Doherty and Ben Davies for the trip to St James's. Harry Kane is a good talking point here. Played all but a few minutes of England's 3 games. Mourinho surely won't be happy about that. Limped off in the 3rd game, didn't he? In the sort of 85th minute. Will Kane start, or will Mourinho play a sort of game here and say something like, "I could not start Kane." You know, that was an awful impression, but that was more Wenger than Mourinho.
Yeah, that would be the second one, won't it? Harry Kane's going to start. I'm sure he will. He's till Jose's games, innit? He always does it. He sort of just goes, "Oh, I don't know." Although I don't know why he's playing those games against Newcastle, to be honest. Like, of all the teams to kind of want to I need to tactically outwit Steve Bruce. Jose Mourinho is like, has his pride dropped that far?
He just wants some attention back on him, doesn't he?
Easy win for Spurs, won't it? Even you as an Arsenal fan could say that. Newcastle are going down.
Yeah, I believe Newcastle will go down, and I believe that Spurs will win this game quite easily, for sure.
Yeah. Still believe in the glorious leader, of course. The Cockney Geordie.
It's funny. Harry, I was actually talking of Harry Kane. I was talking to my wife the other day about the Spurs documentary on Amazon.
Yeah.
And I was telling her about Harry Kane's inspirational team talks that he.
They were beautiful. They were beautiful. They were just.
And I was like, "Oh, I need to." She was like, "I want to see it." I was like, "I had to." So I went on YouTube. And found a clip, and someone's clipped it up and put like Harry Kane's inspirational team talk on Amazon.
Yeah.
Amazon series. It's 20 seconds long, the clip, and Kane just sort of stands there and he goes, "Right, boys, we fucking start early. We're doing them skulls." And then he's like got Dele Alli next to him. He's just trying not to laugh in his face. He's like,
you've also got it's a beautiful clip. You've also got Jose Mourinho sort of standing the other side. Kane sort of starts to go, "Push." It was like linking arms, like, get round. Huge game for Spurs in the Europa League, I think it was. Huge game on the Thursday night at Channel 5. They're all like, you just see like Jose just sort of bowing his head sort of, in this kind of spiritual thing. And then Harry Kane starts talking. You can just tell that he's thinking about another man. You know, he's thinking about Javier Zanetti for Inter Milan. He's thinking about John Terry for Chelsea. Thinking about Sergio Ramos for Real Madrid, the great characters of the game.
yeah,
you know, in John Terry's case, one of the more questionable ones. But yeah, you say you like about John Terry and the fact that he's a wanker, but you know,
he is a
he
wanker.
was a captain, or at least like inspired, meant to go to war. And then you've just got Harry Kane, score goals.
Harry Kane has been involved in. I mean, he might not be the most inspirational leader, but he does, you know, in terms of his speech and his oratory. But when he's on the pitch, he is a lead by example kind of guy, and he's been involved in 43 goals in 40 games this season.
I had a rant, and I thought of it a couple of days ago, and it really pissed me off. What was it? And it's about Kane and Aguero. Oh, it's about XG. It's about XG.
Of course
right?
It is.
No,
it's not about Leeds, it's about XG.
Someone literally said this, right? So it was about XG, fine if you use it as kind of analysis, but don't say that teams should be winning games because of it. Don't say that strikers are. Yeah, just don't use it like that. So someone said that Harry Kane was a better striker than Sergio Aguero. For me, they're very different players anyway. But his reasoning, right? This is on like another football channel. This is like someone who's.
Oh, are you calling them out? Let's call them out. Come on. Who is it? Who is it? Name and shame.
James Alcott he's on the kickoff occasionally, and he has his own channel. He's a QPR fan. Less said about that, him the better. But anyway, he said that very different strikers. No, in fact, he didn't say this. He just said that Aguero wasn't as good a striker as Harry Kane for the reason of XG, because Sergio Aguero's XG is mainly tap-ins, therefore it's roundabout exactly what it is. So if he's expected to score 2 goals a game from his XG, he tends to score 2 goals a game. He doesn't knock the XG out of the water. Harry Kane scores goals like the one he did against Chelsea, if you remember that, where he sort of ran in. You know, he scores goals from kind of unexpected positions, which therefore, because of his XG, he blows it out of the water. Yeah. Therefore, from that exact moment, Harry Kane is a better striker because his XG is better. It's absolute bollocks. You know, if you take a shot of a game where Aguero's 2 yards out and he puts the ball in the back of the net and you go, anyone could have done that, fine. Not everyone does do that because they don't actually make the runs. They don't, like, stay in the same spaces. There's a reason that, you know, some people like Gary Lineker and Kun Aguero are better at scoring those kind of chances. It doesn't make someone else a better footballer because they can kind of do it from anywhere and it's kind of unexpected and it's more kind of hit and hope. If you literally just take the goal scoring opportunity and XG into consideration, you go, oh, well, you know, he only scores the goals that he's meant to. Why is he in that position in the first place? Are you telling me that this isn't a world-class striker and isn't just as good a striker as Harry Kane? Because he actually gets into those positions, and that's why XG is bullshit.
Have you got it off your chest now, Roz?
Really pissed me off. This is the problem with XG. You're just these, like, little scenarios. You're not taking the entire game into context. They didn't show the whole clip. You know, Aguero might have been on the edge of the box 5 seconds beforehand, but that's not where the XG is taken from. It's not, oh, he's never going to score from there. Oh, he ended up in that position. It's always like as the foot connects with the ball, and that is the XG. It doesn't take into credit strikers that make late darting runs, Ian Wright, all those kind of players. It's just stupid.
Right, okay, I need a prediction from you. I'm putting a stop to your rant there. You're running out of steam. I just thought I'd let you blow off steam and you're done. Right, okay. So what's your prediction then for Newcastle Tottenham? I've gone 3-0 Spurs, Kane man of the match.
I'm going to go 2-0 Spurs because I still think Jose will be pragmatic, and I'm going to go for Harry Kane as well.
Literally, I think if you looked back at all of our predictions, we always get the same one on Spurs games. We always predict the same.
Yeah.
Except for when they play Arsenal, where the hope kills me. Okay, next up is Aston Villa Fulham at 4:30. Super Sunday main event, if you like, at Villa Park. Villa are 10th on 41 points. Fulham 18th, 2 points behind Newcastle in 17th. But Newcastle do have a game in hand. Fulham could climb out of the drop zone potentially, at least for this week, with a win at Villa. Jack Grealish is available after his 7-week absence because of a shinjury. Defender Courtney Hauser is also fit again, while Wesley is nearing his comeback after 15 months out. Wesley, remember him? Bobby Decordova-Reid will return for Fulham, having missed their previous 2 games because of injury. Midfielder Tom Kearney, who hasn't played since December, remains out with an ongoing knee problem. Roz, have Villa got a bit too much here for Fulham, or is Fulham's resurgence, have they had a little rest? Are they going to smash it?
I think Fulham will stay up. I think they will totally, you know, Newcastle will just keep dropping, but I think they're both losing this week. I think Jack Grealish is the main talking point of this game.
You think they're both losing this week? You think they're both losing this week, Newcastle and Fulham?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So Newcastle losing to Spurs, and I think that Fulham, it'll be the Jack Grealish show, I think. But Villa have actually got a few results without him. But he's definitely that kind of cog in that Villa machine. He's creative. He's inspirational. He tracks back. He's just a top player. Josh McGinn also scored for Scotland. 2 goals, I think.
Scored a couple. One of them was an overhead kick, wasn't it?
Hmm?
He scored a couple. One of them was an overhead kick.
In fact, he scored, I think, two against Faroe Islands. So he got 3. He's another Diogo Jota. But 3 goals in a week. So he's in good goal scoring form. They've got Grealish back. Ollie Watkins, 1 cap, 1 goal for England. Same level as David Nugent and Francis Sheffers now. the esteemed group.
Love it.
Villa, let's go 2-1. Fulham will fight, but Jack Grealish, 2-1 Villa.
Yeah, but literally, I've written down my prediction before you said yours, and it's bang on the same. 2-1 Grealish. And you pretty much said everything that I would be saying. The Jack is back. It's the Grealish show. I think he's been nursed back slowly and carefully, and he will be firing, ready to go. Because he needs to show Gareth that he wants to be on the plane. You know.
Did you see what he was wearing when he was out injured? Like every time, basically more time that was actually spent on football in a Villa game was spent just watching Jack Grealish on the sidelines, just like. And in the last one, he was wearing like a jumpsuit. It's like a onesie with like the alphabet on it or something. It's like a toddler there. And it's literally just like, clearly he's got like a fashion advisor. He's just like, this is really in at the moment. It's literally a onesie with the hood up. It's all white. It's a white onesie. And it's just got like little black letters around it. And he just looks like a little child with stubble, and it was really disturbing.
Well, I mean, if you're watching this and you want to find out about it, there's a good article on the Telegraph website, which is called Jack Grealish's Tracksuit and Other Crimes Against Style. Which, I mean, it's criminal what he's wearing. He's, let's just say he's probably got a bit too much money on his hands. Okay, next up then, we move to Old Trafford, and this will be just after EPLW's show tomorrow with myself and Mus. Man United Brighton, 7:30 kickoff, and Man United could have Marcus Rashford and Mason Greenwood available again after the pair joined in with training yesterday. However, both Anthony Martial and Victor Lindelof could miss because of respective knee and back problems. Lindelof's ongoing back problem there, coming back to haunt him maybe. Brighton are still without Adam Webster, who's recovering from an ankle injury. Aaron Connolly returned for the Republic of Ireland over the international period, but is a doubt again due to a bruised foot. So, Brighton have lost their last 6 games away from home against Man United. They're 16th on 32 points. Seems safe-ish for the moment, depending on how results go. Man United obviously second with 57 points. Could look to break away from Leicester here and consolidate second place tomorrow. What do you reckon, Ross?
I think Man United will have too much for Brighton. Same old kind of boring prediction, but I think, I would say like Marcus Rashford's feature. It's a hard one with the injury, and to know whether he'll be sort of starting or on the bench. It sounds like he'll at least be on the bench. I thought Sterling had a brilliant game midweek, but actually, for me, Marcus Rashford has to start for England. He's clinical, really kind of stepped up as more of a kind of leader figure for Man United this season, and God knows they need it, their captain. But I would say Marcus Rashford, but he might not start. So let's go for Bruno Fernandes. Let's go for a 2-1 Man United.
2-1 and Fernandes, you're saying, yeah?
I mean, have you seen the size of Brighton's defenders? And then if you ever seen,
I don't see United scoring headers tomorrow, if I'm honest. Brighton have actually never won at Old Trafford, and I mean, I can't even see them scoring, really. I think you're generous giving them a goal there. I think
they've got Belgium legend Trossard.
Yeah, no, he's not going to do it. Sorry, I mean, Man United too strong at Old Trafford at the moment, and I think this will be a walk in the park. I'm going to go 3-0, and I'm also going to say Fernandes because I think he's too good a player to not light this game up. So I'm going to say 3-0 United, and also Bruno Fernandes. In Bruno we trust. Right, okay. That was probably not the
But,
right accent. I am an ignorant
no,
Londoner.
it probably
Right,
is. You know, for a Man United fan, you need any accent. There's a Man Union one.
very good.
So
Good save. Thank you very much. Okay, Everton, Burnley, 6 o'clock on Monday night. So, sorry, Everton, Crystal Palace. What am I saying? Everton, Burnley was Everton's last game. I'm looking at their last
they
result on
enjoyed
my
it so
screen.
much. They
Yeah.
enjoyed it so much they're going to play them again.
Yeah, Everton lost their last two games, didn't they? They lost to Burnley and they lost to Chelsea. Before that, though, they were looking quite good. They'd kept 3 clean sheets on the bounce before that, so it's kind of need to try and get back to form here, Everton. And when you look at the league table, you know, they're pushing for that. Realistically, we're looking at Europa League spot here for Everton, aren't we? That's a good season for Everton. I often ask you, what's a good season for certain teams, and you know, what's a good season for Everton, Roz?
In terms of where Ancelotti's dropped them from, the signings he's made with some genuinely world-class players, in my opinion, like Alan, I think, is one of the best defensive midfielders in Europe from Napoli.
Quality player.
Mus Rodriguez, when he first came in, was a big deal.
He's a player.
Then also how he's improved the likes of Mason Holgate, he's improved the likes of Dominic Calvert-Lewin, even Alex Iwobi, transformed into a wing back at times. I thought looked very solid for them. So I think that they haven't hit their ceiling yet, I guess is what I'm getting at. I think a good season for them this year, with all the teams that are kind of fighting for the top 4. They'd probably bite your hand off for Europa League football. Well, yeah, they bite your hand off for 5th. I don't know if they want that kind of distraction necessarily. But certainly I think they'll keep improving. I'd say 5th, the best they can hope for. But for next season, Ancelotti is one of the best managers in the world. So
yeah, exactly.
If they even aim higher.
Yeah, if they continue to do, you know, if I was an Everton fan, I'd be quite happy at the moment with the potential of the squad, with the quality of the manager. What you've got to think here is they've got to keep these players in the summer and potentially add 1 or 2 more. If they make Europa League, that's going to be a lot easier to do because they can attract players that want to play in Europe, and they can build like that. It still baffles me that Ancelotti took this job. It's great though. Obviously, it's great, you know, but he's got a point to prove against Liverpool potentially, you know, from back in the day. So he wants to go across to the blue side of Liverpool and do better than them.
Sure. I think also, like, I mean, one thing to bear in mind would be sort of the age of the players that he's brought. He's brought experienced players that are at their peak rather than kind of players that sort of are ones for the future. You know, he's brought Alan, he's brought James Rodriguez.
Yeah.
There aren't too many brilliant or sort of top level left backs in the world. And in terms of hanging on to players, the obvious one that would come to mind would be Dominic Calvert-Lewin. But actually, I think Luca Dean is much hotter property, you know, because there are other strikers about these top teams would go for. Calvert-Lewin's had one brilliant season, so he's still a bit of a risk. He's probably going to have quite a high price tag being English and young, as those players often do. Luca Dean, I think, could play for a Barcelona. Luca Dean could play for a Real Madrid.
He could very easily play for Barcelona.
Really that good for me. So he's one to hang on to, for sure. Anyway, prediction. Palace, never going to score, are they? Let's go for Everton. Let's go for 2-0, comfortable Everton. And let's go for Dominic Calvert-Lewin to continue his goal-scoring form after he netted against the behemoth that is San Marino.
The behemoth, that's a very American pronunciation of that word. I think you'll find the correct English pronunciation of that is behemoth. Okay, so...
Is that right?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's just quite... I think Americans tend to say behemoth and we say behemoth. But, you know, potato, no, tomato, whatever, you know...
I've never heard anyone actually say potato. That's the thing.
That's because no one does.
Oregano. The best ones are the herbs. Like there's oregano, oregano.
The best ones are the herbs.
There's oregano, and then you've got the other one, which is basil, which just sounds more.
And then, oh my god!
And then the actual word herb.
Herbs.
Actual word herb. They go herb.
Yeah, and also, I mean, let's not forget about coriander, also known as cilantro. Like what? What are you talking about?
There's an episode of Friends, which is like a terrible episode. It's really not that funny. There's a thing where like Joey's trying to learn French, and he's so stupid that he just sort of speaks gibberish, but with the accent of a Frenchman. He's like, yeah, I am
Wow.
speaking French. No,
Yeah.
you speak French. And it's a terrible episode, like some of the worst writing ever. But it's that kind of thing. It's like, je m'appelle Joey. That's literally what the Americans did with bloody pubs. Made up cilantro. Sounds nothing like it. We made the language.
Yeah, and well, steady on there, mate. English is a bastard language stolen from many countries. That's why it is so. That's why it is so weird as a language. But I'll give you a little etymology and language origins lesson another time, shall I? We've not got a lot of time here, so let's move on to our final match of the game week. Actually, hang on, no. What the fuck is a zucchini, by the way?
Oh, literally, how do they get it?
It's a courgette.
Like, what even was it that, like, one page, you know, when they sort of got the dictionary in, there was like all the kind of vocab for fruit and veg. There was just a page missing. And they were like, oh no, we don't have a word for courgette, we don't have a word for coriander, it's all C's. And they were just like, let's make up our own cool words. Let's make up cilantro and what was it? Zucchini?
Zucchini. Eggplant.
Eggplant. Yeah, like what?
Doesn't look like an egg. Anyway, right. Let's move on to let's talk ball, shall we? Wolves West Ham finishes the lineup on Monday night. Wolves West Ham, eh? This should be a pretty good game to watch, shouldn't it? West Ham sitting 5th in the table, 49 points, and Wolves 13th on 35 points. Wolves, a good season for them, I guess, is survival, which they should be all right. I can't see them challenging for Europe. Their season's pretty much over. West Ham, on the other hand, a few good wins, and you know they could see themselves in the top 4. I said it. I left them in my top 4 for my prediction for the end of the season. You thought they'd bottle it because you couldn't bring yourself to say that West Ham are good because you're a Millwall fan and you're bitter that they're in the Premier League and you're not. Where do you see this one going, Ross?
West Ham's way. I'm going to be really neutral for this one. I'm going to totally ignore the triggering and I'm going to go for... I mean, you were saying sort of a good season for Wolves. Let's stop talking about West Ham, shall we? Good season for Wolves. Good season this season for Wolves. Definitely survival. In the grander scheme of things, with all their Portuguese investment, one of the most... it's a top manager, Espirito Santos. Very good manager. And you kind of feel like it's sort of them having a break this season. It's almost like they've been hit by terrible injuries. I think everyone feared the worst when Rui Patricio actually got another head injury, and it was like, oh god, after Raul Jimenez having a skull fracture. Never nice to watch those injuries. Luckily, I think Patricio's isn't as anywhere near as serious as Raul Jimenez. But I reckon next season they'll be hoping for sort of bigger things. They've always been sort of in that Europa League conversation since they've been in the Premier League. No one ever said back where they belong about Wolverhampton Wanderers. That's interesting, isn't it? They've won more titles than Leeds, I think, or at least the same amount. Huge football club, but no one was ever saying that. They won't get the same media pandering. But anyway, they'll be back next season, pushing up and not worrying about relegation next season. But for this season, they will stay up, won't they? Come on. I mean,
of course.
No chance of going down now. No. However, I think they will lose against West Ham. Let's go for Jesse Lingard to keep making his claim to get on the plane for England, even though I don't think he should go. But let's go Jesse Lingard. Let's go for 3-1 West Ham.
So 3-1 Lingard. I'm going 2-1, and I reckon Jared Bowen, who got back to goal scoring form in the Arsenal game, and he's had a nice rest. So yeah, I'm going to go 2-1 and Jared Bowen. I mean, West Ham over their last 4 or 5 games have been against some true giants of the English game. They drew 3-0 with Arsenal. Before that, they lost 1-0 to West Ham. They managed to beat the mighty Leeds 2-0, and before that one, they lost 2-1 to Man City. Before that one, they had a game against a smaller club, Tottenham, which they won 2-1. So they've had some really tough tests against some true giants of the game, such as Leeds. And I think this will be a nice sort of easy run out for them. But I do think Wolves pose a threat going forward. The likes of Pedro Neto, making those runs. You know, got himself a call up, didn't he, as well? Neto got a goal as well on the international break. So yeah, I reckon 2-1 is a fair shout.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. I mean, also sort of Connor Cody and those Wolves defenders will be kind of wanting. Certainly, Connor Cody. I think he's a brilliant player and really wanted to get there internationally. I just think West Ham will have too much. But I mean, just a quick thing on West Ham, which is that they're getting a bit of one of these dangerous reputations that Leeds have, which is that they are a underdog, which is true. They're an underdog for top four, 100%. But people forget how much money is actually spent in the modern game. In fact, that Leeds United nearly spent 100 million being a newly promoted side. So quite frankly, shouldn't be going down and, you know, should be staying up there. With West Ham, they've bought, for me, the last two best players in the Championship. So they bought Jared Bowen when he was at Hull and had ridiculous numbers. I think he was, in terms of goals and assists, hitting sort of numbers like 30 a season.
Yeah.
Just a ridiculous player. And they signed Jared Bowen for, I think, not small money, you know, for a different league, it wasn't small money. And then also bought same position, next best player in the Championship the season after that, Brentford, and Saeed Benrahma.
21 million.
There we go. Lanzini and players like Yarmolenko, who they same positions, those players.
Yeah.
And God knows how much they spent on those. I read somewhere that they've since who are the owners?
Sullivan and Gold.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah,
the two Daves.
But since those two have come in, they've bought something like 10 to 15 strikers or something ridiculous, and only one of those has actually outscored Ogbonna, who's a centre half.
Yeah.
Which is just beautiful, isn't it?
But what they have done, they must have changed something in the last couple of years, because their transfers have been insanely good. Bowen, like you say, Bowen and Benrahma have stepped up. They're good enough to play in the Premier League, you know. And then you look at the likes of Souček and Soufal. They both got from, was it Slavia Prague, I think. Souček, what a bargain he looks like now. 14.5 million. 14.5 million for a Premier League centre midfielder, and he's one of the best this season. And
he's 100% one of the best. And he keeps it solid, and he offers you a goal for it. Yeah. And has, in terms of intelligence, struck up an instant partnership with Declan Rice. He's one of the most promising talents England have.
And Soufal as well, the right-sided player, obviously plays sort of right back, right wing back, right midfielder. Yeah. 5.4 million for Vladimir Soufal. Yeah. I mean, that is, and you know, Benrahma was 20 million. I can't remember how much Bowen was, but like when you look at those four.
Bowen was something like 20 million, and it came after.
Yeah, he was 20 million.
It came about 2 days after one of the owners said, if we go down, it's when they were in a relegation scrap, and he said, if we go down, we can't afford it. Like, as in, we will lose a lot of players because we can't afford to keep them on their contracts.
Yeah.
So it's like we can't afford to, in terms of being a good example for children everywhere, in terms of financially spending, gambling and all that kind of thing. It's like, right, we actually don't have enough money to risk this. So we're just going to spend another 20 million. I wouldn't say that season. I mean, they did stay up. I wouldn't say Jared Bowen was key to that. No, it wasn't an absolute guarantee on paper. So, you know, I'm really digging for reasons to hate West Ham. They're doing brilliantly. They've got great squad players, brilliant manager. I would say manager of the season, personally. But
interesting shout, yeah.
Yeah, but I'm just digging for reasons to criticise them. But they're doing very well. Well done.
They are, they are. Okay, well, that has been all of the fixtures then. So let's run through our predictions, shall we? I'll go through them very quickly, and then we shall part company. So Chelsea, West Brom, you said 3-0 Mount. I said 2-0 Werner. Leeds, Sheffield United, you said 11-0 to Sheffield United.
My first answer.
McGoldrick. I said 3-0 Leeds, Bamford. Leicester, Man City. You said 2-1 to Man City, Kevin De Bruyne. I said 2-1 to Man City, Riyad Mahrez. Arsenal, Liverpool. You said 1-1 Jota. I said 3-2 Odegaard. Southampton, Burnley. We both said 1-1. You said Wood. I said Ings. Newcastle, Tottenham. We both said Spurs would win. You said 2-0. I said 3-0. We both said Harry Kane. Villa Fulham, we both said 2-1 Grealish. Man United Brighton, we both said Bruno. You said 2-1, I said 3-0. Everton Palace, we both said Dominic Calvert-Lewin. You said 2-0, I said 3-0. Wolves West Ham, you said 3-1 to West Ham Lingard. I said 2-1 to West Ham Jared Bowen. The fixtures are on the screen there now. That is where you can catch those games this weekend, where and when. Okay, Roz, thank you very much for joining me again. We will see you next week at some point for another live stream. You're not around tomorrow. I'm not sure what you're doing, but I hope you have fun. And
I'll still celebrating Millwall beating Rotherham, mate. I'm turning it into a weekend bender, you know. We beat Rotherham 1-0. We saved the penalty, so I'm just keeping it going, you know.
Yes, mate. You crack on. You do that then.
Well.
I'm surprised you haven't started. I mean, maybe there is a bev in that cup and it's not coffee. It would explain some of your predictions from earlier. Right, okay. Thanks a lot, mate. I'll see you next time. And tune in tomorrow. If you're watching, tune in tomorrow for EPLW with myself and Mus. Ta-ra.
Yeah, mate.